Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, continuing our big game breakdowns with a look at the Oregon Ducks and the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the Orange Bowl. Danny Kanell, this is your national championship pick, the Oregon Ducks. Did you see enough? Are we more emboldened? Are we concerned? You've got a data point on the Ducks. We, of course, don't have anything from Texas Tech since they won the Big 12 title game against BYU. Had just a check-in on your stock buy from Day Trade and Danny for the Ducks as your title winner.
I still like it. I wouldn't sell. I will say I was hoping to see potentially Evan Stewart on the field. We didn't see that. Decorian Moore, what do you have? 1 reception. So he was still a little bit slowed, but I'm still banking on those guys coming back. I think this game actually, and with those weapons, whether they get all of them or not, I still think Noah Whittington has been a huge part of this offense. Mm-hmm. Are they able to run the ball against Texas Tech? I think they'll try, but I do not think they are worried about having to move the ball through the air against the biggest question mark for Texas Tech is their secondary. A lot of that money was spent on the front 7. Those guys, David Bailey, Romello Height, all the guys on the defensive line are beasts, but the one place that they did not really shore up was the secondary, and that's where I feel the most confident about this matchup is Dante Moore's ability to make good decisions, to get the ball to the right guy on the exterior, and to make some big plays that way. So I think, a lot of it comes down to, physicality. How do they handle the pass rush? But Dante Moore's pretty good getting outside the pocket. I think they'll have a pretty good, solid game plan for him. So that's kind of the matchup I'm watching is Dante Moore and those weapons hopefully getting healthier against Texas Tech secondary, which is not the strength of their defense.
I mean, to me, it's like, what do we start every Texas Tech game with analysis of? Can you block them? Can you block Texas Tech? Oregon is, I think, the best or second best offensive line that Tech has played so far this year with the game at Utah, probably being number 1. Now, we didn't know Dampier was hurt in that game because Whittingham kind of did some weird stuff there. But what? Even so, right, yeah.
The college football coach?
Mm-hmm. Even so, we
have
seen
Urban Meyer assistant?
They handled it pretty well. Like they were able to get a lot of pressure on Utah, both in the pass game, and they also held up in the run game, quite a bit. Tech has some injury stuff going on the defensive line, so that obviously helps out the Ducks a little bit. But Oregon has been really good on the offensive line this year. I think they're really healthy now on the offensive line. Speaking of health, Decorian Moore, Gary Bryant back should be full go. Last check in the viewing portion, they did not see Evan Stewart out there in the portion of the Oregon practice that is available to the media. I don't know what they'll say on the injury report there, but if he's somehow full go, that really changes things quite a bit. But they've had other players really emerge for the Ducks this year. So, if Oregon can block them, I do think that despite the fact that Tech is really good at linebacker and their secondary is much improved, I still think that secondary is gettable by a hypothetical team that can block them. We just haven't seen anybody block them so far this year. But they also haven't faced many good passing quarterbacks. Was it Sam Leavitt was probably the best one?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
He threw for 300, didn't he?
Right. Huh. Who's the second best? Is it Bachmeier?
No way. Hold on.
Probably. No, it might be.
No.
It wasn't Dampier.
You want to go through the list? Who's the second best?
Yeah, let's play the game.
Go through the list.
We only got so many big game breakdowns left. Let's play the game. What's the best passing quarterback?
Is it Avery Johnson?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Jalen Daniels?
Oklahoma State.
Not this year. I think Bear Bachmeier was the best quarterback they faced outside of Sam Leavitt.
Connor Wegman?
Yeah, Connor Wegman actually is probably one of the better ones.
They had no chance of blocking him in that game. I think Houston had some guys out up front, and they just got all over him.
Well, Connor Wegman,
they didn't play any Dante Morse.
They didn't play Josh Hoover. They didn't play Rocco Becht, right?
Connor Wegman threw for 345.
Didn't play Sawyer Robertson.
Let the man who just beat LSU to give the Cougs 10 wins, let him be celebrated for a second.
I thought Avery was scrambling around like crazy in that game, but did move it pretty okay, in a loss, of course. Dante's probably the best quarterback they faced.
Mm-hmm.
and certainly the best QBO line combo they've faced. So that's what this game comes down to. I think Texas Tech will move it some. I don't know if they'll score between the 20 or like inside the red zone. I think they'll probably move it some on Oregon's defense, but like if Texas Tech's front just is what it was all year against a step up in competition now, then Tech's got a real shot to win this. If Oregon can slow them down, I think Oregon feels pretty good.
On yesterday's Locks Pod, when we recorded yesterday,
I
took the Texas Tech team total under, and one of the reasons I'm not optimistic about their offense in this game is that like Tech has to hit explosives. Like their offense is they're not going down to down schedules, putting together long drives. They're looking to hit big shots and finish drives quickly. Oregon's defense is the 4th nationally in explosive play rate allowed. They don't blitz a lot. They do a good job of getting pressure with just their base packages. They drop in a zone. They keep everything in front of you and force you to put together long drives. And then they, when they get in the red zone, they do have problems, but Texas Tech's offense has problems in the red zone. So that is a concern to me for Texas Tech offensively. On the other side, though, I think we talk about Texas Tech secondary, and I think you guys are right. There hasn't been a whole lot that has happened there to test them. Certainly not with what they're going to be dealing with in this matchup. But I do think what Texas Tech does is it is very aggressive on defense. Like they're getting upfield as quickly as they can, that defensive line. They're not, you don't really see a whole lot of edge setting. They're coming after your ass. So I'm expecting that what we're going to see early in this game is Oregon's going to do a whole lot of its horizontal passing stuff. We're going to see a lot of screens to the sidelines, forcing Texas Tech to keep kind of creeping up to take care of that because they're probably going to hit a few chunks off of that because the receivers are good in space. And then once Texas Tech starts doing that, shots down the field looking for the big plays, which they're good at. Because I do have concerns of whether or not Oregon will be able to run the ball as effectively in this game as they have been the last month or so. And I do think Texas Tech's run defense is very good. But as I mentioned on yesterday's Locks Pod, Texas Tech hasn't faced a rushing offense that is good and also has a good quarterback. So it's a much different task when you can't just load the box with 8 or 9 guys to slow them down. So it'll be interesting to see. I do think Oregon ends up winning this game. I just don't know if it's going to be a blowout win or if it's going to be like an ugly-ish kind of win.
Is there a been here before advantage that we should take into consideration, or is that just like total narrative sauce?
How do you quantify it?
Because Dan Lanning and his staff have had to prepare for college football playoff games, for big-time games for a couple years now, and Texas Tech simply just not only has not been here in terms of playing in the college football playoff, but just has not played games on this stage with these kinds of stakes very often. I mean, there is a newness that is undeniable. That what is debatable is the impact that it would actually have.
I do think there's something to it. I do think that there is I don't think it's an incredible advantage, but I do think there's a slight advantage to having been here before. So maybe even if despite the coaching, even if you're just a player,
I'm
not as
imagining the player of like just how like this. I'm not trying to be mean, but this ain't the Alamo Bowl. Like this ain't the Holiday Bowl. Yeah, like the amount of locked in that you need to be to get yourself prepared for kickoff against this opponent on this stage at this time. It's
fair to say this is the biggest game a lot of the guys in those Texas Tech uniforms have ever played. Mm-hmm. And you don't know how you're going to handle that. There could be some tension and some, anxiety early on in the game before you finally settle in. So yeah, I definitely think that's part of the equation. I don't know how big of a factor it is though.
What do we think the fan turnout's going to be, DK?
I think it'll be more Texas Tech.
Right.
Some Oregon, some empty seats. I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard place to travel for Oregon.
Yeah.
But it's just, the weather's gorgeous. It's kind of the South Florida issue that they always run in. It's not the best sports town that just people are going to die hard, is going to go want to watch a college football playoff game.
There's a bit of a brand issue there, right? Like Oregon is a good TV draw. If you look at some of the TV stuff, they're not quite as good as maybe like they don't draw quite as well as they play. And Tech's not really a name brand, among like the top 20 or so name brands in the sport as far as like draw and excitement. So how many casuals are you going to get, like sidewalk guys, you're going to get to buy tickets? Yeah, let's go to the Orange Bowl. Maybe
I
some.
mean, this is one of those times where the college football playoff selection committee needs to look at itself in the mirror and say, how much better could this game have been if it had been Texas Notre Dame instead of these two scrubs?
Well, no,
Or
hold
in
on.
Lubbock.
Whoa. This is a big game breakdown. We can't get this. I was thinking less of a percentage to capacity as much of a percentage against each other. I was imagining that with this being arguably one of the biggest games in Texas Tech football history, that we could see Texas Tech roll deep. That Texas Tech
will roll deep. I mean, I think it'll be a significant edge for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I
think about the alumni bases too. Where do you think the biggest alumni bases for Tech are? I would guess
in
Houston,
Texas.
Dallas, Austin, Oklahoma City.
Right. That was a nice little run.
Maybe San Antonio. Like I'm just like major cities that are close, right?
Yeah.
We'll say that.
What are they for Oregon? Portland, San Fran, LA, Salt Lake, Vegas.
Far away.
I'm just talking about like major cities on the West Coast. Right. Yeah.
Far away. But to your point, because you mentioned it should be in Lubbock, and credit to Dan Lanning for saying that too.
Dan Lanning said that.
Last week said this game should be played in Lubbock.
Yeah. So I do think Texas Tech will have more fans, and that could prove me wrong, Oregon fans. I've seen y'all travel. First year of the Big Ten play, Oregon fans in opposing Big Ten stadiums was impressive. Got to see it in person for myself in Ann Arbor, which obviously is a little bit of a bucket list trip for some, but they seemed to be really excited about going to see all these new places along the way.
It's also like you have to fly on New Year's Eve and early on New Year's Eve to get there because you're losing all that time. If you're in Portland, when are you flying in for this game?
On the 30th?
30th?
Yeah.
They're all week.
Or like the morning of the 31st. That's an expensive flight.
They're already there.
I've been sleeping in that Hard Rock parking lot for 4 days already.